certain suggestions I would like to make. This wake-up call is unfortunate that it has come after this incident, which should have happened long time back, because it seems there has been a tolerance against such crimes, especially against women, whether it's rape or other kinds of crimes, including acid attack victims and stalking, other things. So first, without taking much time, I would like to suggest that reforms, when we talk about expediting, then this fast track should not only be with the court, police, but it should be also that when our this parliament is thinking of making changes in the system, then they should also expedite these things. Though they are inviting these suggestions, I hope they do not sit over it for long years, but they implement it as fast as possible.
Abolished it because of two cases that came up. A man was accused of the rape of his 10-year-old child. He and his wife seem to have had some differences. He was accused, he was convicted, he was given death penalty. This happened in the year perhaps 1953. In 1955, there was an investigation going on with regard to disappearance of certain children in the neighborhood. Something like that Nihari case or Nithari case which we have done. And 2 years later, it was discovered that his landlord had actually picked up all girls around that area and picked up after his death also. Because after his death, it couldn't have been that he who was doing it, he had been given death penalty. It was discovered that in fact, it was this landlord who had done this to this child also. So in England, there was a great backlash that look, death penalty should never be given fun. You're not giving life, you shouldn't have the right to take life. I've heard reports of people saying they are getting food in our jails, they are being looked after in our jails. We are not barbaric. We have to, they're not comfortable in the jails. Anybody who goes and visits jails will know that the punishment is a real punishment. That's the first thing. So, I am one of those proponents who's against death penalty. Perhaps I would put it for maybe two offenses, like offenses of terrorism or offenses against the state of a nature which are completely heinous. So, of course, everybody is entitled to their own viewpoint. But this is one view we could look at. The United Nations, by a convention, has said death penalty should be abolished. 50% of the countries in the world have abolished it. You could definitely make... So now we come back to the argument that I was saying, that are we talking of reformation? Are we talking of deterrence? Life imprisonment, which is given in an offense of the nature of this offense which happened on 16 December, which is gang rape, is quite a serious punishment. It is a strong punishment. So we are not only seeing, therefore, obviously two things emerge. One, that by giving death penalty, necessarily you are not doing deterrence. Two, your object is also to reform. And I think your jails have to work at that. Partly we call upon our society to create criminals because of the divide we have between the haves and the have-nots.
Whether it is the family, or it is the neighbor, or the extended family, or it is an acquaintance, or somebody in office, or with whom in day-to-day life the lady is interacting, normal life. And then suddenly something goes wrong and this happens. Now when this is happening, there are certain obvious limitations of investigation. That is why even in foreign countries it happens. If suppose it has happened over a period of time, I said after say a few months or a number of days, so what evidence will be available except the evidence that they have, both of them have been together, and that there is an allegation, an accusation, the lady says, yes, this has happened to me. Whatsoever hard you may try, what evidence will be available? Secondly, there can be a circumstantial evidence. Now if those circumstantial evidence is available because of the acquaintance they have with each other, family pressure, neighbors pressure, peer pressure, lot of pressures, those witnesses also then change their statements. In fact, in many cases, even the person against whom rape has been committed, even she has changed the statements for a variety of reasons. That is why the conviction rate is very low. Even in respect of those 4% or 5% or 7% of cases where it is primarily becomes the area of the police, there also there can be an obvious limitations of investigations. I am not denying that inefficiency on the part of the investigation officer, lack of training on the part of investigating officer, lack of availability forensic and other help and assistance, lack of availability of legal guidance to the investigating officer in a ticklish case, all these becomes the reasons. But definitely where all the precautions are taken, the case is the one where you can produce the maximum of evidence. When it goes, then of course the criminal jurisprudence starts, that system starts. The prosecutor is there. How much interest is the prosecutor taking? What type of level of lawyers with the accused in bringing? 10 lawyers, all very eminent people coming, shouting at the judge, creating the situation. I mean, all these things do matter when the final judgment comes. There is therefore a need for strengthening our prosecution system also. There is a need for an appreciation and understanding on the part of the judges also, that here is a difficult scenario. A rape investigation is a difficult scenario. When effort is made from all the sides, it has to be done, and there is a need on the part of the investigating officers also to be efficient. The second part is with regard to the deterrence. Now I feel deterrence has three factors. I in fact agree. I have been looking after prisons for 4 years, Delhi Tihar prisons. So I am intimately knowledgeable about what goes on in the prisons and what is the psychological impact it has on the person who goes into the prison. There should be a certainty of punishment. That is, if you have committed the crime, I am talking of in respect of offences against women particularly, there should be a certainty, if there has to be a deterrence. You have done it, you will get it. The second has to be sufficiency of punishment. Whether it is 7 years, whether it is 10 years, or it is life imprisonment, whatever the law says, whether the law should be extended to the death penalty or not, I am not going into those things. I am saying whatever the law is, within that law, there should be sufficiency of punishment relating it to the nature of the crime which has been committed. And a third and a very important thing is the swiftness of the punishment. If something is done now, you are bound to get it. You are bound to get it within a period of 3 months or 4 months. And we have not to take care of just the initial sessions trial, but also the appeals which go into the Supreme Court and in the High Court and the Supreme Court. Because there, if a person is very wealthy, he is resourceful, then he has the means of getting it lingering on. We have several cases, both in the High Court as well as the Supreme Court. Therefore, there is a need for perhaps laying down certain limits.
Because of, though it is a true case, though the complainant may have deposed against the accused, but because of glaring defect in investigation, accused has been acquitted. And there is lack of knowledge to the police officers, lack of infrastructure, other things are there. But like in one gathering of police officers, I was delivering a lecture in BTS. I asked, are you aware what is the difference between blood group of semen or blood? Some of them were knowing, others were not knowing. He has to get identity of the victim fixed by the victim or the person who may have seen it after going or coming. But what police officer will do is, after his arrest, or before his arrest, he will record his disclosure, then he will arrest him and then he will take him to place of crime, and then he will take him to a place where he will say, I will get recovered the articles and all that. Then next day, he will produce him in court and will say that he is required for test activity, sent to judicial custody, then PIP. He forgets that it is the settled law that he has to ensure that as soon as he is arrested, there should be no chances for a witness or a victim to see him. So there is no occasion for him to take him to the place of occurrence or take him for recovery. Or if he does it because if he feels that if he won't take him, there are chances that the exhibits or evidence will disappear, then it is mandatory for him to at least on record say that I directly him and placed him under cover. Face was covered. But he won't do it. On papers at least. That is most important. When he'll do it, when he'll produce him in court, then he will write, इसको बापर्दा किया और जैसा आपको भी अच्छा prosecutor होगा तो बोल देगा सर लिख दो he's produced buffered face. But you forget that last 20 hours he was not buffered face. He was taken to places. So the court will say that no, there were chances that victim might have seen, so that identification will go. That is a defective investigation. In spite of that, if there is other evidence corroborating, then yet court can act upon it. But as I said, he will take blood sample, it will be vitrified, it won't be connected to the accused. Then what option court has? So therefore, this I will call totally lack of knowledge of a police officer and defective investigation, according to me. Now, from 2006, it has become mandatory that DNA sample has to be taken. DNA sample is most important. DNA result is most important, but there is very lack of infrastructure. I think there is one laboratory earlier, it was Bangalore, Hyderabad, and maybe there is one too, and it is a very long process. And for taking DNA profile, you need expertise. A sub-inspector won't be able to take it. So the facility is not available. So therefore, like at least what Mr. Gupta said, not maybe in one police station, but at least in one district, there should be a crime branch. They say that crime team has been called. Sir, with due respect, I have experience. That crime team, when it comes to the spoil, will spoil the case. There is eyewitness, already FIR has been recorded, police already collects everything. They will come, they will say, ये देखा, SHO को हिदायत दी गई कि गवाहों के बयान लिखो, ये कलेक्ट करो, ये वो तो ऑलरेडी हो चुका है. And they will do nothing. वो एक टूटा सा कांस्टेबल आ जाता है पुराना सा कैमरा लेके, वो क्राइम क्या बोलते हैं, ये जो क्राइम टीम होती है, उससे तो या नहीं होती, पता नहीं लगता डॉक्टर को. अब इन द एब्सेंस ऑफ द डॉक्टर वो दूसरा क्लर्क आके एग्जिबिट कर जाता है. पर अल्टीमेटली हम कहते हैं कि एग्जिबिट तो हो गई ओनली, बट इसमें ओपिनियन थोड़ी एग्जिबिट होगी, उससे बेनिफिट मिल जाता है. तो इनका सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है कि एमएलसी कलेक्ट करने के बाद आईओ उसको देखेगा भी नहीं. उसमें मैंडेटरली पूछना चाहिए आईओ को, जहां जहां तूने भाई ये ऑब्जर्व किया, ये ऑब्जर्व लिया, ये सैंपल लिया, नेल का सैंपल लिया. नहीं, अभी तो सीआरपीसी में अमेंडमेंट आ गया कि इट इज मैंडेटरी फॉर आईओ टू आस्क इवन क्लैरिफिकेशंस एंड क्वेश्चंस, एंड व्हाई ए डॉक्टर हैज गिवन ओपिनियन, ही हैज टू गिव रीजंस आल्सो. So it is the duty of the IO to ascertain, not that collect MLC, and ask his complete name. And even I go to say that he should insist that the doctor should give his permanent home address, because IO always asks you give the permanent home address, so that if he leaves the job or goes somewhere, at least you have the address. So they won't do it. वो मैं अभी गया था पुलिस अकेडमी, कहते नहीं जी वो देते नहीं, क्यों नहीं देते? You ask him in writing, give us the permanent address. He has to give it. So MLC is also a very important document, but invariably I find that in most of the cases very casually I will collect it, attach with the file. And similarly this other things also. So these basically scientific evidence is also very important.